Is going on, everybody? It is Thursday, May 7th. We have some bets to recap from last night. We went 5-4 on the night. We went up 0.08 units. Not much, but it's green. That's what we care about. Now, as always, we will dive into each individual sport, go through the best bets for that, and recap how we did in each side of the ball. So, starting with the NBA, going into the playoffs here. Went 1-1 on the night. Wemby went far under. Like I said, blowout game. Played 26 minutes, only had 35, 34 PRAs. Had him under 43 and a half, so cleared that pretty easily. Knicks hooked us. They won by 6. We needed 7. We needed the over 6.5. So unfortunate there. Went down the juice, 0.13 units. On the season, we're down 6.3. Obviously, like to turn that around, but even days aren't terrible. I mean, you were 50-50 on your bets. You're just losing the juice, so it's not terrible. Not like we're drastically going down, but obviously we want to go green. Now, to do that, tonight, Pistons minus 3.5 versus the Cavs. This cashed the first game, and the Cavs have struggled all year against the Pistons. It's just been a team they have not been able to figure out. And at a 3.5 point line, I think they're looking at the Pistons against the Magic way too much. Different matchup, different side, different energy. If we look at just the Pistons in the last 2 games against the Magic and the first game against the Cavs, this line should probably be closer to like 7, 6.5. For this to still be a 4-point spread like it was in the first game, Pistons are not the same team they were in the first 4 games against that Magic series. They came out slow. They came out lethargic. They came out like they were just going to roll the Magic. They figured out the Magic came to play. They turned it on. They've been pretty dominant the last 2 or 3 games of that series and this first game against the Cavs. I don't expect that to change, and they match up very well against the Cavs. They dominated them all year, so I don't expect that to change either. So minus 3.5 for the Pistons. Then we go to Lakers Thunders. I'm taking the under 209.5. Honestly, this game and series in whole is just the makings of a Thunder blowout. Every game, which typically means the under's in play. So first game, it was a blowout. We hit 198, so 11 points under this total. They're coming in here. Nothing's changed for the Lakers. Luka is still out. He's probably not going to come in until this mid round 2 is what they said. So maybe game 4 we're looking for a return from Luka. But this Lakers team just can't compete with the Thunder. I don't expect that to change. Expect a blowout here. Under 209.5 for this game. And that wraps up our NBA picks. Then we head over to the Diamond. We take on the MLB. We went 3-1 last night. Pretty good night. CJ Abrams got his 2 hits, runs, and RBIs. We cashed the Nerfy, and the Rays, they stay on that under train. And the one miss, if I was to tell you, your pitcher went through 4 innings, gave up 1 hit, 0 earned runs, and has 5 strikeouts through 4 innings, would you say he gets pulled in the 5th? No, I wouldn't either. But that's what happened. Sproat through 4 innings looked pretty perfect. We gave up 1 hit. Didn't come back out in the 5th inning. Don't know why. Don't know what happened. But that's the one we missed. He did not get his 15 outs. 15 and a half. So 16 outs. He didn't start the 5th inning. Got yanked after the 4th. I don't know why. Maybe he's on a pitch count. Maybe they don't trust him to go deep. But as far as we know, that was just very mysterious. So we missed that one. But we went up 2.45 units. On the season, we're down 18 units, but you gotta think we were down 22 just 3 days ago. So we've been on a little bit of a momentum swing. So hopefully we can keep that going. And to do that, we need Troy Johnston over 1.5 HRR hits, runs, RBIs, taking on the Mets. Johnston's done this in 2 of the last 4 and 7 of the last 10. And if we looked from April 22nd to the end of April, so we just take out the 3 games played in May, he only missed this once. He was dominant. He got it through multi-hit games, run games. He's a key spot for RBIs. So I just really think a lot of opportunities for him to do this. So over 1.5 HRR for Troy Johnston. Then we go over to Seth Lugo. Over 4.5 strikeouts versus the Guardians. Lugo's been on fire. He currently has a K per 9 of 7.63. So he needs to get 5 strikeouts with the projected 6 innings that he's projected to go. So I think that's definitely something doable. It's right on par what he's considered considerably doing right now. So I think that's definitely something to look into and tail to get Seth Lugo to cover his over 4.5 strikeouts. Then we just keep the gravy train going. Rays, Red Sox, under 8.5. The Rays are now 7 for 7 or 8 for 8 on unders. Their last 8 games, they've all gone under. Went over it yesterday, but it's the exact same bet. We're just continuing this train until the train runs out. So Rays, under 8.5 runs. And it's not really any particular pitcher because they've gone through the lineup twice throughout that course of those 8 games. This will be the 9th. I think they just keep continuing. They're either not putting up any runs or they're putting up 1, 2, 3, and their defense is being outstanding. It's just kind of a weird, kind of like that last game, it was a 3-0 game. Game before that, it was a 4-3 game. Game before, like it just, they're sitting right on that under threshold, and they're just not giving up runs, and they're not scoring a ton either. So taking Rays, Red Sox under 8.5. And then we go to Cardinals, Padres. No run first inning. Our record now is 14-9. So those are going to wrap up our bets for the MLB. Head over to the NHL on the Frozen Pond. We have some playoff hockey to look into. We went 1-1 last night. We cashed the Sabres first period. Could have done the -0.5, but I like the little protection on the tie. We got it done either way. And the Ducks Knights, they stay under. We had them on over. So we lost the juice, -0.24 units. On the season, we're down 4.2. So looking to turn that around. And to do that, we need Porter Martone over 2.5 shots on goal. Martone is leading the Flyers in shots in the playoffs. The Flyers are going to attempt to make this a series, make this competitive. They're going to rely on Martone to put some pucks in the net, to get those things going. If he's trying to put pucks in the net, he's going to shoot more. It just kind of correlates positively there. So I'm taking Martone over 2.5 shots on goal. Currently averaging 2.8 over the course of the series, or through the playoffs. So a little bit over this line, right at this line. So 3 shots is definitely in his wheelhouse. Only 1 game on the slate, so that is our only bet for the NHL. All right, it is Thursday, so we have a little bit of PGA action to look into. And we are back for the Truist Championship. Now, projection markets, we're looking at Siwoo Kim to win outright in the without market. So the without market, it removes Rory McIlroy, Cameron Young, Xander Schauffele, and Matt Fitzpatrick. So those 4 guys are not counted in the without market. Siwoo Kim has been on fire. He's looked very good. He's come in top 5 of the last 3 tournaments that he's been in. So definitely some good looks out of Siwoo Kim. I think if he gets there, he could potentially come top 3, maybe behind, a McIlroy Young kind of setup, a Fitzpatrick McIlroy kind of setup. I don't love Schauffele. I'm kind of surprised he's in this. Xander Schauffele. I'm surprised he's in this without market. They keep putting his odds and they keep projecting him very high, but he just isn't showing up to these tournaments. So I don't know what's going on. He just hasn't looked like they're expecting. So I think that's why he's in here, removes another person from the field, but I think Siwoo Kim win outright in the without market. So without those big guys, he comes in. He could potentially come in 5th and have these 4 guys ahead of him, and he'd still win this bet. So definitely I like that. But realistically, I'm thinking maybe he comes 3rd behind a Rory, Cam Young, Rory, Fitzpatrick kind of lineup there. So then we look at Matt Fitzpatrick to come in the top 10 at plus odds. Fitzpatrick has won the last 2 tournaments he's played in. So for him to come in here, top 10 at plus odds just seems a little weird. This is the best ranked player in the field. He's currently ranked 2 behind Scotty. Scotty's not playing in this tournament. And then he's got Rory McIlroy, who's ranked 3 right behind him. So I think those 2 guys are definitely going to be putting on a show this weekend. But I think Fitzpatrick continues his dominance that he's been seeing. I don't foresee him falling out of top 5, let alone top 10. So taking Matt Fitzpatrick top 10 here. Then we look at just round 1 props, taking Alex Smalley to win his matchup. Now at the Truist, it's a 3-person tee off or 3-person matchup. So there's 3 people per each tee time, which is why all odds are basically plus money because you got to beat 2 other people, not just 1 other person. I think Smalley is definitely the clear favorite in his grouping. Plus, if you look at the first day of the, I'm trying to remember what the last tournament was, but if we look at the Cadillac Championship, he shot a -4 on day one. And I think that just gets that done here, especially with the matchup he's in. If he comes out hot like he did on day one, I don't foresee the other people in his matchup shooting better than like a -2 today. So I think that'll get it done for Smalley. Clear favorite. We're just riding with him to win his round one matchup. Then we go over to Justin Rose. Under 70.5 strokes. I don't know what happened to Justin Rose last week, but it was terrible. That is not the Rosie we expect to see. I certainly expect him to turn that around and figure those things out over these last couple days that he was off. I don't know if it was the clubs, if he goes back to the other clubs. I don't know if he just maybe didn't have the clubs, adjusted and weighted correctly. I don't know what was going on, but he shot a +5 on a tournament. I don't know the last time he shot a plus or over par on any tournament. So for him to do that, I don't think that's going to be what he's going to want to do. He's going to want to come out here and make a statement. I don't hate him on the outright money line play just because of the narrative and the script and a little bit of edge. Come back out here and be like, no, I'm going to win. That was not me last week. But if you want to take him on a top 5 projection, I like that too. Top 10, sure. But I expect him to come out here and light the course on fire, especially round one. So we're taking the under 70.5 strokes. Those are our best bets for the Truist Championship. We'll come back every day and recap the field and see what we're looking at the next day. All right, then we head over to the soccer pitch. 0-1. Bayern Munich tied, which did not work out for them. They needed to win to advance, so we lost that bet. Went down a unit. On the season, we're up 0.14, so still staying in the green, but obviously we want to start heading the other direction. Now, best bets for today. Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. We're taking both teams to score parlayed up, or not really parlay, but it's it's like a game matchup parlay that's already pre-made over 2.5 goals. So both teams to score, game total over 2.5. Putting those together, they have Villa's odds at -140 for over 1.5 goals and -220 for Forest to score a goal. So that's 3 goals right there, both heavily juiced, so they both likely or they're projected to happen, and that would mean both teams score. So respectively, this looks like 3 goals, both teams score, very likely. That's why we're doing this one. Villa versus Forest, both teams to score over 2.5 game total goals. Then we have over to Freiburg versus Braga, over 2.5 goals. Straight up. No both teams. This is just 3 goals in the game, anywhere, however they come. This has the opportunity to be a game where goals can be scored pretty heavily. Both these teams have the ability to put up 3-4 goals apiece. This also has the game where we could see 0-0, 1-1. Definitely a low scoring opportunity. In the last 7 games of each of these teams, they both put up 14 goals or more in the last 7 games. So that's 2 goals apiece there over their last 7 games. Some of them were spurts. I do know Braga had a 4-goal game. I know Freiburg had 2 3-goal games. So some of those were spurts. Some of them had 1-goal games. Some of them had 0. So it's all over the place. But on average, they scored 2 goals apiece over the last 7 games. Not the strongest of defenses between the two. They've certainly given up their fair share of goals. So I'm taking over 2.5 Freiburg versus Braga total goals on the match. And that is going to wrap up our best bets for today, Thursday, May 7th. And let me know if you're tailing in the comments below. If you're watching on the podcast, head over to the YouTube or catch me on X. Comment, interact in real time. A little bit faster to, get back to you there. But until tomorrow.